trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking like the doodah man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on.
Arrows of neon and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings.
Dallas got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York got the ways and means and just won't let you be.
Most of the cats that you meet on the street speak of true love. Most of the time they're sitting and crying at home. One of these days they know they gotta get going. Out of the door and down to the street all alone.
Trucking like the doodah man once told me, you got to pay your hand. Sometimes the cards ain't worth a dime if you don't lay 'em down. Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me, what a long, strange trip it's been.
What in the world ever became of Sweet Jane? She lost her sparkle, you know she isn't the same. Living on reds, vitamin C and cocaine. All a friend can say is ain't it a shame.
Trucking up to Buffalo, been thinking you got to mellow slow. It takes time to pick a place to go and just keep trucking on.
Sitting and staring out of the hotel window. Got a tip they're gonna kick the door in again. I'd like to get some sleep before I travel, but if you got a warrant, I guess you're gonna come in.
Busted down on Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin. Knocked down, it gets to wearing thin. It just won't let you be.
You're sick of hanging around and you like to travel. Get tired of traveling, you wanna settle down. I guess I can't revoke your soul for trying. Get out of the door, light out and look all around.
Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Maybe it occurs to me, what a long, strange trip it's been. Trucking, I'm going home. Whoa, whoa, baby, back where I belong. Back home, sit down and patch my bones and get back trucking. way. Going down the road, feeling bad. When I'm going down the road, feeling bad. Going down the road, feeling bad. Yeah. Don't wanna be treated the same way. the morning sky, sunlight splatters, done with the answer. Darkness shrugs and bids the day goodbye. Speeding arrow, sharp and narrow. What a lot of fleeting matters you have spurned. Several seasons with their treasons. Wrap the babe in scarlet covers, call it your own. What another man spills.
Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Test, test. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Test.
Daybreak, busted flat in Baton Rouge and waiting for a train, feeling nearly faded as my jeans. Bobby flagged a diesel down just before it rained, took us all the way to New Orleans. I took my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana. I was blowing sad while Bobby sang the blues, with them windshield wipers slapping time and Bobby clapping hands. We finally sang near every song that drive. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to do. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. And feeling good was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Feeling good was good.
Like, really gross. See, I think these are good. Doesn't bother me.
1, 2, 3.
But
Testes. 1, 2, 3. Balls.
boobs. Vagina.
And that's Can Labs.
Yep. Microphone checker. 1, 2, 3.
when he's like the first black man and shit. White
He's all, I had a case
Check,
of
check,
mud
check.
Vagina.
Do I need these?
The mud bite.
Testicles.
I had a case of the mud
Yeah, he
bud.
was saying balls, so I said vagina.
And there was only one thing I could
You can say
I
boobs.
had two
Testicles.
choices.
Testicles?
Vagina.
Testes. Testes. 1, 2, 3.
Papa told him someday you will be a man. You will be the leader of the big old band. And people coming from miles around to hear you play your music when the sun goes down. Maybe someday your name will be in lights and Johnny be good tonight. Why go? Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, be good. Go, go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, be good.
You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
This is Adam Kokesh, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to American Weed Realm Radio on iCannabis Radio. Josh Stanley here, as usual, every week. Your host with my brother Jesse.
Hello, that wasn't you didn't do a
There's no
precursor to that.
mustache reference because you shaved it.
I'm used to my mustache brother Jesse. That's weird.
No, they what happened was they kicked Jesse out of all the kiddie pools in Denver, and he said, to hell with it, so he shaved it. And we're here with our Science Corner and our very special guest, as always, Jennifer Murray.
Thank you. Hello.
We're here with Chris Stubbs.
Good evening.
Jennifer may be a little bit slow tonight. I just want to let everyone know that. She's been at the Bongathon all weekend, and I'm pretty sure her mind's clogged with certainly some bong resin. So we'll do our best to get through it with Jen.
Wow. I'm perfectly fine. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, you are.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. Well, Chris, yours always clogged. All right, guys, we have a very good show for you tonight. We've got some very special guests. We've got Trip Kieber who is the owner of Dixie Elixirs, and I know that from the group, the pediatric cannabis therapy group, that Rebecca Brown, I always give a shout out to, put together, and thank you so much for doing that. There's been so many questions. In fact, I had pages of questions that had come in for Trip and some of the new products that Dixie Elixirs is coming out with. Trip has always been one of the, if not the best, manufactured infused product or edible person in Colorado, one of the most respected. always does his testing, does his homework, and I think certainly is in it for the right reasons. And we're going to be answering a lot of questions with Tripp. We're going to have a half hour with him, and I doubt we're going to get through all the questions with him in a half hour. But we'll get through all the pertinent ones. In the meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of a rant and rave. I have to apologize to our listeners out there who have been sending in questions and have been trying to get a hold of me through Facebook. We've been unavailable. I have some bad news to report. I'm going to do a little bit of crying, a little bit of a Josh Stanley boo-hoo, and I want everyone out there listening to feel sorry for me.
Without the boo-boo lips.
Yeah. Well, as most of you know or may not know, I was one of the first to open a dispensary in downtown Denver and was responsible for the authoring of what was called House Bill 1284 and putting together the political action committee that got the first bill passed to further define in statute what the Colorado voters voted for medical marijuana in 2000. Since that, I've been shut down now 4 times. 4 dispensaries, 4 medical marijuana centers of mine have been shut down, and 2 grow operations. 2 of my ranches or my farms, as we refer to them, have been shut down. So that's 6 total. And now we can make it lucky number 7 because I received from my last medical marijuana center in Denver a federal letter to shut down within 45 days. And so, boo-hoo, exactly. But you know what? This is more than just my business. This is more than just my livelihood. As you all know, this is about the cancer patients we treat through this oil. This is about our children with Dravet syndrome and Goose syndrome and all kinds of other syndromes. So I think it's very unfortunate that they would pick somebody like me to continually target, to come after, to shut down when, you know what? Their biggest concern has always been profits. How much money are these guys making? I mean, these guys they called it the green rush. These guys are printing money hand over fist, and nothing could be further from the truth than that, especially when it comes to myself, the Stanley brothers, and our family, when our primary objective is to pay the bills and then be able to create this oil individualized for these children and for these cancer patients, these MS patients, and so on and so forth. So a tough weekend for us. And then after the federal letter, and I was joking with an old colleague of mine that we used to work with very closely with the Department of Revenue, Dan Hartman, and I happened to just be talking with him the other day, and he said, boy, I tell you, he said, you know, I told you not to poke the bear, meaning the Justice Department or DEA. So guess what happens after he says that? Last night, bears break into our house, literal bears up in our house in the mountains, and tear apart our windows and come in and tear apart our home. So apparently I did poke the bears, and Dan made a comment. He said, well, you know, I think it was Operation DEA Bacon Drop. I think they came to drop bacon in my basement. So that, folks, is why I've not been able to get back to you in a timely manner on your questions. It's been a tough week. So anyway, no more boo-hoos for Josh. We're going to move on here to Science Corner. A couple of the things that we weren't able to, I feel, adequately accomplish a couple of weeks ago in Science Corner, and this is when Chris was gone. So I want to bring up some of these things. Chris was seeing his honey in Minnesota, which I understand went terribly. She broke up with you? Is that?
Oh, no. Quite the opposite.
No.
So it's wonderful.
Okay, very good. So I want to touch on, because we did have a lot of questions this week come in again that I wasn't able to get to, and that is mislabeling, Chris.
Okay.
And we talked a lot about mislabeling, and I went out there and I threw some very specific people under the bus with Jen, and Jen had a lot to say about this because you are the Can Labs, and I can't stress this enough, folks. Can Labs is the only lab in Colorado, okay? Anyone else, what you're testing, you have no idea what your outcome is. And you have seen things come through your laboratory labeled as medicine for serious illnesses and people that are using this for serious illnesses. And you've seen the opposite of what they claim on their labels. And Chris, I'm glad you're here. I want to get you and Jen's perspective on this a little bit, because I'm going to throw, Jen, who is it? I always forget.
No names.
Oh, no. I'm going to throw the name out. You can whisper it.
I'm not going to talk
All
about
right, is it Nancy Bees? Is that, am I hot? Am I warm? It's me talking about this, guys. So you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it, Nancy B's. You don't have to talk about people. You don't have to talk about any of this. But you know what? I can throw my neck out there because
the
I've
clarification
had
there is that we're third-party testing lab, and we don't release information about specific clients. We don't discuss their results or lack thereof. So me specifically, I'll be mute on that point. But I can say that there are a ton of people that come under or over their labeled dose.
Okay.
And the reason we know that about Nancy B's, though, real fast, is because somebody else tested it. So everything is confidential if you pay for the test, but if somebody comes in and tests your product, it's their information to give away.
Okay,
Just so I wanna
and
clarify.
you guys remain confidential. That has nothing to do with the price of tea. I'm not confidential. Okay, I run a radio show, and I want people to know the truth.
No, I agree, and I see where
Especially,
you're coming from there. And there's a lot. Whether you talk about potency itself or unique minor cannabinoids being present, there's mislabeling all over the place, and people pay good money and put a lot of good effort into finding medicine that works for them, and they end up being on the same side of the other side of the fence, because the content was not there. And by the other side of the fence, I mean the folks that say there is no medical value or it's all recreational, and it pushes the myth even further. And our goal is to demystify this.
Of course it pushes that myth further.
Exactly. If a patient doesn't get the desired benefit and has trouble sorting through all of it, we're left saying, well, we can show you the data if you bring it in. We'll show you why that's the case.
It's the same thing as a migraine sufferer going to pick up their migraine medication, and they swap it out with sugar pills and say,
that's right.
It's the exact same thing. I had a cancer patient in Fort Collins that relied on Nancy B's syrup.
Yeah.
And relied on it. Why? And I can't use her name, and I won't do something like that. But she had breast cancer, and breast cancer, CBD had been known in some studies in California to eat breast cancer cells fairly aggressively. And so she relied on this medication for months. And I had no idea. I had no clue that there was no cannabidiol.
That's the problem with the industry, is that there are people in great need of a particular thing, and they can't get it still.
Or consistently get it, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and it's we're in a really lucky position to be able to elucidate that data and actually guide people to what's right. Without that, everybody's still in the dark. Right. And the fact that we're in this position has to do with a stifling of the science and a lack of public knowledge. And like I said last week, I called you out. Like, here's a study right in front of me on our blog that talks about cannabidiol alone in a study.
Right.
I've had 3 emails at least since then requesting studies that talk about the specific activity of one cannabinoid or another. And these are from physicians that have access to the same public database I have. And it irks me to know that they can't take one step further, sit down at the computer.
They want somebody to do it
and
for
look
them.
it up. And furthermore, I wanted to just say one thing. The placebo effect is kind of interesting in this. It's been shown to be related to the endocannabinoid system, like the runner's high has been. And the data falls apart when you go from mice and rats to humans, but we're also very similar, and that's why we know as much as we do about ourselves. Nonetheless, with some of these products, people say, well, I can feel it working, or X, Y, and Z. And so, go to the pharmacy to get your sugar pills, and going through those motions can have the desired effect. And there's studies published on the placebo effect specifically that discuss, the percentage of people that feel better after having gone to the doctor and gotten the prescription. Did they even take the pills? You know what I mean? Going through those steps is shown to be beneficial. So we all realize there's a huge holistic side to this, biochemically and mentally. So to me, there's a lot out there, but mislabeling is huge. If it's not there, it's not there.
It's huge. And folks, I want just to expound on what Chris just said. He said there's a huge holistic situation that we're dealing with here, and huge holistic possibilities when it comes to the cannabis plant. When we talk about holistics, though, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about ginseng, ginkgo biloba, flaxseed,
Medical plants.
Medical plants. This it's not the king, it's not the queen, it's the emperor of all holistic medical plants. Because I say this almost every week, but the iceberg has not come out of the water yet on the possibilities that we're seeing in this plant. When we go back to, for example, let's go back for a minute on placebo effect that you were just talking about. Okay, we run into a situation where a subject can be induced with a study, or what's called a double-blind placebo study, that would be required typically by the AMA or the FDA. Okay, we don't fall into those grounds, and so we've been labeled quacks, kooks, potheads.
It's anecdotal evidence.
It's anecdotal evidence. That's right. However, okay, and this is where I have to disagree, because when we cross a line, okay, with a 5-year-old who has a syndrome like Dravet syndrome, and that 5-year-old has gone through every prescription medication that her neurologist could give her, and finally she's off all of them, and 90% of her seizures are gone, and the ones that remain are less, or maybe not grand mal seizures, for example, and she's starting to live a normal life. I would beg to differ on I would say that we'd have to reclassify a double-blind placebo, and I'd have to say that this goes beyond anecdotal whenever a child that's 5 years old is not cognitive of the fact that they're taking a sugar pill or they're taking a CBD-infused non-psychoactive substance. And so that's why we move into this different realm. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, Chris, and see what your thoughts are on that, because they have no clue whether they're eating a Flintstones vitamin or they're eating a sugar cube.
I mean, look, this is what's always fascinated me about this, because growing up, my family was the introduction for me, and it was recreational, but I also knew really old members of my family, like my great-grandmother, who had
what?
Yeah,
really?
Seriously.
Now you
there
come from a religious background.
Oh yeah, I was raised Mormon. My great-grandmother, was not, but nonetheless, that it all falls apart somewhere, right?
Well,
we have a very cohesive family, and we're very open. I mean, my entire family knows what I do, and they're very proud of it, and very curious about all of it. And whether you're 5 or 95. I saw the fact that there were huge benefits to what people were getting, and recreationally too. There's a difference there. Coming home and having a glass of wine to relax and be able to pass out and have sound sleep, if that's what it is. There's something to that side too, and there's a whole intermingling of all of it. But I knew there was something more to it, and when I went to college and started studying this specifically in the context of my biology and chemistry degrees, it became a lot more obvious that it wasn't just this unknown void of information. I mean, there's a lot of history of the chemistry. There's a lot of history of some clinical trials, a lot of animal studies. And you can pull from that a lot of these answers, But we need to take the next step with people. And having...
What is that next step, Chris?
It's, to me... I think it's somewhat ridiculous, because we have, on the one side, the existing model of clinical trials, and we've got all these self-medicating folks that are kicking their diseases in the ass, and it has nothing to do with their healthcare providers' recommendations. It's their own choice, and that's really important, frankly. You waste so much time and money and health dealing with the modern pharmaceutical model, and I can see why. I mean, my own mother was flabbergasted at the amount of information that I hold. Every time I go home, they're just like, tell us now. I mean, in Minnesota, when I was back visiting Liz and her family, they're just as curious as everybody else. Yeah. And it takes 1 or 2 statements to turn the head. And the next step is sharing these stories and having the next push to just decriminalize and let us take this back into our hands. There's no other way to do it. The existing model is not going to give us access to the variety of strains and formulations that people need. And you can get close. GW's got a well-formulated product that has a ton of biotech behind it. It's amazing for me as a scientist. But you're not gonna spray that in a 5-year-old's mouth. It's got alcohol in it. The dosing is not maybe where you want it. Some of the Rick Simpson hemp oil stories, they're taking huge doses for 60 or 90 days. You can't touch that in the market. The FDA is not going to look at that.
Not only can you not touch that, but you have an infinite variety of potential strains. Okay, folks, that you're dealing with here. And so pharmaceutical companies, they can take their stab at it. And Sativex is by and large, a very
example.
It's a better example than Marinol, which fully synthetic and absolute. I mean, I to date has caused at least a dozen deaths that we know of so far. But forget about the deaths and the health aspect of things. The problem with recreating creation, with recreating botanicals, with recreating the infinite possibilities that we're able to come up with this plant, it doesn't exist. And so now I feel that you're not going to be able to put that genie back in the bottle. You're not going to be able to put that water back in the dam.
I don't think so, yeah.
How can you? And good for sure, but I call that the snowball effect. It's when you go out back and you ask somebody in the year 2000 in Colorado, for example, and you ask 10 people, would you vote for medical marijuana? You're going to get 4.5, 5 people probably in a random group that say, yeah, I would vote for that. Now you've got more like 8 or 9 in the state of Colorado for medical marijuana, just speaking in Colorado. Why?
They've got education about it.
They've been educated because they've got, they may have fallen off the right-wing Christian coalition train,
but there's still more bank robberies in their town than there are dispensaries.
But they also know their neighbor,
exactly,
or their Aunt May, or their grandmother, or a distant person who has derived relief from this form of therapy.
That's the thing.
And that's why, no, I wouldn't take it, they say, but I would vote for it. And that's why you won't put it back.
They would take it, though. I mean, if you're...
The key is they would.
Yeah, yes, they would. If you had something wrong with you and either you went through the gamut with pharmaceuticals or you just would not take pharmaceuticals, but you were just in so much pain or whatever, you're going to try anything.
It's not until desperation that they change their minds.
Right.
And I've seen so many hardcore Republican, Christian, conservative weirdos or whatever you want to say about it that turn their heads when they hear these stories. And when it's presented by a scientist or somebody that has real knowledge
somebody
about it,
that they find credible.
I mean, that's what is key about this show, about our blog, our newsletter, is we can't rely on anybody else, whether it's National Geographic or 9 News or especially the government, to elucidate this information. And we have to use the channels that we have to get it out responsibly. That's why I say no third party, no this, no that, Just use it as a vessel to get it out and let people learn, and they'll see that somebody else with crippling rheumatoid arthritis
the only thing that I would say to that, perhaps in some kind of a jest or humor, is that the only other person that I think in the United States that would not opt for this type of treatment that could truly benefit from our non-psychoactive oil and the CBD oil is Mr. Mitt Romney, Mr. Magic Underwear's wife. Okay, and you grew up Mormon, okay, and it's okay. You cannot have caffeine until they bought PepsiCo, but Pepsi's cool.
Well, look.
Yeah, but heavens, no, we will not try something psychoactive on my wife because, as you saw in the blogs the last couple of weeks, he will fight medical marijuana tooth and nail. Right. Well, guess what? Go to hell, Mr. Romney. And you know what? If you get one vote, shame on that one person that's actually voting for you and your magic underwear. You can go believe Jesus, party with the Indians.
We just need to educate him. He just needs to sit down and get an education, and then if he chooses to turn and whatever, that's fine. But he needs to be educated on the facts.
He has been educated.
How do you know?
He has had letters sent to him by us saying that we would love to treat your wife for free with a non-psychoactive substance that has been shown to be incredible for MS and help to even stop the progression of MS.
How do you know he even got it, though?
Well, he probably didn't.
I'm
get
sure.
it.
I'm sure he didn't get it. If he gets one postmarked from Josh Stanley, are you kidding me? They're gonna check it for anthrax. Yeah,
but he's funded by big pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, yeah.
That's money is power, even above his wife's health. Unfortunately, that's probably the way he thinks. I don't want to speak for him, but
Let's have Mitt Romney call in next
Yeah, Mitt, if you're
next
listening,
show.
Do we have a call coming in? Is that Mitt?
What's interesting
Take
is
off your magic undies, Mitt. Let's have a
Stop
true
with the magic
conversation.
I had a lot of discussions with my father, who's still an active member in the church, and with some of his close members about this. Because if you go on the LDS forums and blogs and look at what active members of the church are saying, there's people that want to become members that can't because they're patients, or
Sad.
members that
Is
can
that
really
right?
benefit from it.
Doesn't
and
God
can't.
love
And
everyone?
so I pushed this very hard with them and gave them a lot of science to get back up the chain, and they're still formulating their decision on it, but they are listening. And there's other
Well, that's great.
religious
So what can
organizations
we
that
do,
are
Chris?
listening because
Spread the
they
word.
look to the Bible, and it says we can use plants.
Well,
Right.
but there's the Bible, and then there's the
You-
Missouri Bible. Where
The
they're
Book of
Josh-
Mormon is a different.
Josh, you have to just keep having the conversation.
Yeah.
And please, I hope everyone goes to canlabs.com and looks at our latest blog. It's a story about Fran, who's a 71-year-old patient. She was at the verge of suicide, I'm telling you, 2 years ago. Suicide. She had so much pain, and her doctor basically said, sorry, Fran, I've given you everything. And so her son said, Mom, why don't you try this? And she's like, well, get me some information. So he did. She failed at a lot of bad dispensaries, and then I got her hooked up with Bijou Wellness. And, it's a great story, but she would have never. And now she will take pom-poms and go to all the retirement homes and talk to seniors,
Talk to them
because
about
seniors listen to seniors.
And the seniors are really accepting.
They are, except they're kind of like
Way
little
more-
kids. Yeah.
way more than you think.
I-
That's because
I-
they're tired of modern. They're tired of modern medicine. They're tired
Yes.
of
because
stuff
they've
that doesn't
spent
work.
how much damn
It makes
money,
them sicker.
time, and effort, and they're still
They've been
sick.
through it over and over again. And you know what I'm going to use? I'm going to use the most precious person that I could possibly think of in as example. My grandmother, who we lost, unfortunately, a couple of months ago. And she was on the show American Weed and remarking how she can make a beautiful bouquet out of some of the buds that we'd given to her. But she understood perfectly well what it was that we were trying to do. And seniors are so open-minded, we've found. Like,
Totally.
the subscribers to the AARP have been absolutely incredible in saying, wow, you really think this can help me, Sonny? No, we
know.
we're pretty sure it can. Yeah. And
It'll definitely make you feel better.
it will. And talking about changing family opinion and things like this, and Jesse and I have at the top of the hour here, we have our favorite person in the planet now that our grandmother is gone. Our mother is going to be joining us, and we're going to talk to her a little bit later tonight about her transformation, because the first time that I came home and said, you know what, the real estate market's dead, I can't even sell the houses that we bought, to this point. We're going to start growing medical marijuana because I saw what it did for me and my broken back and my back surgery. And she went, oh, Josh, oh, no, don't do, no, you can't do something like that. That's marijuana. I said, well, and now I want everybody's going to be able to see her transformation. She's
That's
our
awesome.
She's a number one volunteer. But that's what happens whenever you do educate.
Well, they
Just
see
open
the
the-
holistic again. The holistic,
But
benefit.
education cannot be a shotgun blast, folks. It has to be an organized educational front. It can't have all of the activists from all over Colorado or all over the United States going, rah, 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 yeah, the South Park, rabble, 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 and everybody getting angry at each other.
Right.
Who cares what your message is? Our message is ultimately the same. So check your ego at the door and let's begin to truly educate these
Definitely, and I think the important thing to gather from going back to the first topic of conversation and testing and bad testing is get it right, folks. I mean, you're not doing us any favors by putting
Totally.
something on a label that is not right. I mean, pay for the testing, do whatever you need to do, but, I mean, get it right because it makes everyone look bad. And, I mean, we're making headway with a few of these bad apples out there. So
No,
if we
there's
can
always
get
gonna
rid
be
of
that,
but
but
if we can
yeah.
get rid of the bad
Oh my God,
the
it'll be
bad
night and day.
trees, we can really move a lot faster in this. So please, if you're out there listening, get it right.
And the thing is, though, that they don't understand is they think they can't afford it, but actually it's going to save them money in the long run because a lot of them are just throwing in so much. They don't even know what they're throwing in and how much product they're wasting. So with Chris's help, in Can Labs, we can help you get it right. And
Well, and let's not forget the realm of caring in that, Jen.
Absolutely.
I mean, with Chris and Can Labs, if you have somebody that you know, and you're listening out there, that has a debilitating condition, go to realmofcaring.com, okay? Fill out the contact form. Jesse here will give you a call, and we'll set up a consultation with you. Our services are free. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. You don't pay for your oil, but it is another form of therapy that's not smoked. It's not something that you have to take guesswork out of, because Jen right here and Chris right here test every one of our oils that are sent through, so you know exactly what is coming into your body. But if you're suffering from something like that, you're having a hard time, you have some questions, you do have answers. Go to realmofcaring.com, go to canlabs.com, get in contact with us. That's what we're here for. That's what Science Corner is here for. Keep sending in your questions, folks. We've had so many come in this week, and I apologize. It's been one hell of a week for me and for the Stanley brothers. But you know what? Chris and Jen, they're here to answer your questions. They're here every week. And
yes,
guys,
we are.
I just want to thank you so much for being here, for answering the questions, and even putting me in my place at times.
I need it too, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
Not everybody on the planet's right, except for me.
Again, I want to say, thanks to the Pediatric Cannabis Therapy Group. It's great. It's growing every day. Amazing information on there. People really care on there. It's awesome.
It is. And I want to expound on that and say that the Stanley Brothers Can Labs, we are on a mission, a fundraising mission, to raise enough money to bring your children to Colorado to get the help that they need.
That's right.
It's what we think about every day and every night. We love you guys. We love your children. We love your stories. You're blessings to us as much as you may think we are to you. So with that, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be back here with Tripp, the owner of Dixie Elixirs. We're going to get some great questions for him. I know everybody's excited about that. Then after that, we have my favorite person on the planet, my mother, and she's going to come in and probably talk a little baloney about some growing.
Good.
Yeah. So welcome, guys. Keep stay tuned, and we'll see you here in just a few minutes.
Bye.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
Hi, I'm Josh Stanley.
And I'm Jesse Stanley.
Two of the brothers here from National Geographic's American Weed, and we'd like to invite you to come into our dispensaries in Colorado Springs. Come in for the most pure organic strain selection in Colorado. It's all hand-grown by the Stanley brothers, especially for our patients. So come in and visit us at our two locations, East Platte and West Colorado. And remember,
always be kind to each other.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com. Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
Hi, Josh Stanley here from National Geographic's American Weed. I'm here with my brothers, and we've just recently put together a foundation in Colorado to allow for cancer patients and other patients of debilitating conditions to be able to get a hold of cannabis-based oil that's just about free of charge. I've just about had it with seeing sick patients suffer needlessly just because they can't afford the proper medication. That's what the Realm of Caring is going to change. Visit therealmofcaring.com. The website will be complete and up on 4/20 of 2012. But until then, please contact any of us Stanley Brothers directly through email. You can get us at gratefuljosh@hotmail.com. Now come on, Colorado. We need to take care of each other. Join the Realm. That's realmofcaring.com. Thank you so much.
First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blow and a youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I was bound. No one could change my mind, but Mama tried. One and only rebel child from a family meek and mild. Mama seemed to know what lay in store. In spite of all my Sunday learning, toward the bad I kept on turning. And Mama couldn't hold me anymore. Then I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried, Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better, but her feet and I denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. Dear old daddy, rest his soul, left my mom a heavy load. She tried so very hard to fill his shoes, working hours without rest, wanted me to have the best. She tried to raise me right, but I refused. And I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried, Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better, but her feet and I denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. And I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one would steer me right, but Mama tried, Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better, but her pleading I denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried.
Welcome back to American Weed Realm Radio. Josh Stanley here, your host, here with Jesse Stanley, your co-host. And we are honored to have in the studio tonight, and actually honored by popular demand from a new group that has sprung up from Rebecca Brown in Michigan, the Pediatric, Jen, you got
Pediatric Cannabis Therapy group. Facebook group.
Thank you.
Josh.
Yeah, this is my third week in a row I've messed that up.
Details.
Yeah, well, I always loved it when it was the CBD group.
Right,
it was so much easier for a lame mind like myself. So, recently what's happened and what's popped up is based on a real good ad campaign from a company that I will consider, and I've even said on national TV or on National Geographic, that I consider to be the best manufactured infused product company in Colorado, period. And that is our guest here, Trip Kieber. And Trip, it's good to have you on.
Good evening, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. I've enjoyed listening to you guys and certainly appreciated the loyalty and support that you guys have provided to Dixie Elixirs and Edibles. So it's a pleasure to be here. And my mother raised me properly to never show up without something. And this is actually, I couldn't afford one for each of the Stanley brothers, but I could afford one for the clan, and so
That's awesome.
that is a rock that says inspire, because you guys in particular do so much to inspire the industry and certainly patients. So thank you. You can mount it somewhere in your studio if appropriate.
Aw, that's
That's
sweet.
awesome.
Trip,
you.
I
Very
appreciate
nice.
that. And since I'm the host, I'm going to tell Jesse to go to hell. This is my rock.
My rock.
In addition, we brought some of the much coveted Dixie X. This is a 100 milligram,
yes.
which we'll get into. It's a cinnamon flavored sublingual dewdrop called Dixie X. We certainly brought one for the industry's greatest sound man as well, Chris, who's sitting in front of me. He's potentially
He's already opening it, folks.
I like you.
In addition, we have a 50 milligram hemp wellness CBD salve.
Awesome.
Salve, and then certainly what is quickly becoming the most popular in that X line is the pharmaceutical grade scripts, and those are the 25 milligram capsules. They're nicknamed ghost capsules. It's interesting. There's a little bit of chatter on Facebook and some of the other social media platforms, but we're excited to be here, and I look forward to answering questions and telling you a little bit more about our business.
Thanks so much. And since I'm the co-host, I'm going to tell Josh to go to hell and keep peace. He can have the rock.
I have some more.
Yeah, Jesse, and I appreciate
Jennifer,
that.
you get nothing. I'm sorry.
I know. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Trev.
I'll take care of you.
Jesse forfeited all his rights to products when he shaved his mustache. Oh, okay. So we're going to get into questions, and I apologize if we don't get to your questions here with Trip, because I had pages of questions that I had to whittle down. Some were similar, some were not. And for those viewers out there that are very versed in cannabinoids, very versed in medical marijuana, medicinal cannabis, I'd like you to exercise some patience here, because you have to understand that we don't live in a bubble here in Colorado. We are in the United States, and in fact, we have had calls in like last week from Scotland. Okay, there are people that really don't understand where we're coming from when it comes to medicinal marijuana, and so some of these questions are going to seem a little elementary. So bear with us in some of this situation. First, Trip, I'd like you to give a brief overview of your company, when you started, why you started, what it is that you guys do in your mission.
Sure, absolutely. As I mentioned, Dixie Elixirs and Edibles is a medical marijuana infused products manufacturer based in Denver, Colorado. We operate out of a 27,000 square foot state-of-the-art production facility. It represents millions of dollars in CapEx and a lot of hard work and effort that goes far beyond what I've invested. We are pushing close to a total of 40 employees, which is fairly sizable for an infused products manufacturer. And today we're focusing primarily on two distinct product lines or product categories. We have the Dixie Classic, which are the traditional THC infused products, generally which afford a patient some sort of euphoric aspects.
Except the snake oil.
Except the snake oil, that's right.
Fabulous.
Part of our
I love the snake
So
oil,
do
I have to say.
It's magical. I mean, it works. Yeah.
We have two incredibly professionally trained clinical herbalists, in particular led by Deanna Gabrielle. I'm not sure if she's been on the show, but she has been busy formulating some new products that will fall into the botanicals line, which is incredibly exciting. It's certainly the product that was followed by National Geographic's American Weed, which we sold to you guys on camera, and that was exciting. So, but in addition to the classic line, we have the new line of Dixie X, which I want to emphasize is dramatically different and a deviation from THC-infused products. These are hemp wellness products derived from industrial hemp. We've invested millions of dollars all over the world, industrial hemp assets, and began to harvest those assets in the last 6 to 8 months. And the true value is going to be realized by patients in Colorado and consumers throughout the U.S. because these are products that are high yield in CBD, but contain no THC. So they can be distributed just like hemp ice cream and hemp clothing. And we have created several delivery systems, product lines, that patients will be able to utilize. So again, I want to make a clear distinction that these Dixie X products have no THC, and so they can be distributed today domestically, but not too distant internationally, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and that is certainly one of the questions leading up, and thank you for that, Trip. Let's talk just a minute about the hemp product. Okay, sure. There's a lot of confusion going on all over the United States, and especially our listeners here. And we've had no less than 350 questions come in just on this, which is hemp. What is hemp? people have heard that, okay, the oil that the brothers and I make, for example, what Rick Simpson called hemp oil, which really was not hemp oil.
No.
Phoenix Tears was not hemp oil. And so when we talk about this, we get questions ranging from, you know what, if Tripp is able to come up with a product that is rich in CBD but has no THC and using it through a hemp-based plant, then why in the world can't I just go to Whole Foods and can't I just purchase hemp seed oil and be able to get the same derivative?
So I want to emphasize this is not Tripp Keeber that are formulating these products because I'm not a scientist, but we have biochemists, mechanical engineers, and a large science division, particularly Darwin and Tamar. So I credit them with the formulations. But these are hemp-derived products, again, industrial hemp that is imported legally into the United States and arrives in the form of a CBD paste or a hemp paste, again, high yield of CBD. It's then transferred to our production facilities based here in Denver, Colorado. And from there, we begin the extraction methodology and the refinement, and then it's subsequently infused into the various product lines or delivery systems. Today we have the sublingual, which is the 100 and 500 milligram cinnamon sublinguals. We have the pain salves, and then we have the Dixie scripts. But this is not synthetic. This is cannabidiol, CBD. And
you hit it right there, yeah.
It's a big distinction.
That's actually my next question, yes.
Yeah.
This is all natural. I mean, the products are all natural. It's a glycerin-based tincture. But these, again, are non-synthetic, which are illegal. Synthetic CBD is highly regulated and considered a controlled substance. That is not what we are providing. Obviously, we've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars and many years investing not only in the agricultural assets that we own, but in addition, the legal aspects, because I value my freedom as much as I do providing platforms to heal people.
Amigo, we do too, and neither one of us except Jesse today looks good in orange.
This is more of a peach.
Yeah, and
salmon.
Yeah, salmon. Thank you. Yeah.
But the best part about the whole situation with the six brothers, I already called the top bunk, so we're okay there. So you know, a common misconception, and something that I think is in a lot of people's minds because it's been in many questions sent over the last couple of weeks, is cannabidiol, CBD. The federal government, according to many, has classified this as a Schedule I substance. However, when you look into this a little bit closer, it's in fact not a Schedule I substance on its own. So if you were to ship a plant or a bud, a medical marijuana plant, for example, or import, if you will, one that has a certain percentage of THC, CBG, CBD, CBN, all of these different cannabinoids, then that's where you start crossing the line. And I think that was one of the biggest questions for our parents out there with children that suffer from the unfortunate Dravet syndrome, serious forms of epilepsy, goose syndrome, things like this. And so that leads me logically to ask the next question here. Do I have to live in a medical marijuana state for my child to be able to derive benefit from this?
You do not. And as you ask that question, Josh, to be honest with you, I get goosebumps because on September 5th, Dixie will launch a national campaign to direct to the consumer. It will be an e-commerce platform, drop shipped direct to the end user, and we'll focus initially in the continental U.S., serving those states. And we'll have various platforms established so you can become, for lack of a better term, a VIP customer, and we'll create cost-effective pricing programs that will allow access to the medicine at all walks of life. And so, again, on September 5th, we'll be launching that national campaign. We'll begin teasing it through our various social media platforms.
Very exciting.
But it's important to understand that we've invested tens of thousands of dollars in testing through established labs like Can Labs, who we've been extremely supportive. Their logo is on most, if not all, of our products these days.
They're the best.
Yeah, they are. In addition, we have gone outside of the traditional MMJ testing facilities and are working with ISO 17025 testing facilities, which provides just another level of protection to ensure that we're below federal and United Nations guidelines, because, again, not only will we be distributing domestically here in the United States, but we announced a press release to go international in the not too distant future.
How long is that? If I got a lot, I have. You know what? We have viewers, and let me just say, our show American Weed, which I think we can both all call an ultimate travesty based on what it is that we actually filmed. Well,
a platform for more information.
We have a new show coming out that we hope Trip you'll take part in as well. But we'll get into that in another show. We have a lot of, more than I could have imagined, people coming from New Zealand, from Australia, from Sweden, from all over the world that are asking questions that I have right here.
Sure.
And they want to know, when can they get this? Do you have any reasonable, you don't have to give an exact date, but any reasonable amount of time?
Absolutely. It's interesting because I receive all inbound inquiries that are coming to our website, which are coming from all over the world. And today I received one from Germany on the way down. It was ironic. I was reading at a stoplight, by the way. But nonetheless...
I hope you weren't texting while you were driving, Trip. That would not be okay.
We recently formed a company in Romania, and we are busy working with the Romanian government to receive our over-the-counter license. We formed a company called Canepa Holdings, and that will be our platform, if you will, in which to launch these exciting products, what I would describe as revolutionary throughout Eastern Europe through the EU.
Wow.
And so Romania will be our launch, if you will, aggressively pursuing the other 15 countries. And we're diligently working on other deals to serve other countries and continents. And so I would say on or around October 15th, and I can't be specific, these products will ultimately be distributed and readily available to patients in Europe. And so that's again, awesome. Incredibly exciting.
That is. That's amazing.
That's incredible, and I wasn't expecting that answer.
Amazing.
Actually. So
I'm happy to give it to you.
For all of you viewers and all your listeners out there, I hope you've heard this, and I hope that you'll slow down on the questions on this, because I really hope I hope you'll tune in and either rewatch the show, because I'm sick and tired of trying to read through your Dutch.
Well, also next week I will definitely be talking about these and how they work.
Yeah.
Well, no. I will be, because Trip gave them to me. But
we have plenty. One thing that I also want to emphasize is Medical Marijuana Inc., which is our parent company, if you will, through some licensing agreements, has an extensive research database. And so for your listeners that are interested in understanding, we have approximately 690 medical studies, including the abstracts, that will be made available in the not-too-distant future. Again, medicalmarijuanainc.com has some extensive information related to illnesses. I cannot make medical claims. I'm not a physician or a medical doctor. But again, we've spent tens of thousands of dollars and copious amounts of man-hours investing, and this information will become readily available in two forms. Again, the research tab that we have today, and then access to the databases, so parents of young children will understand the benefits. And this is not us making these statements. It is actually physicians through medical studies and abstracts, so that will be readily available.
Folks, I'm going to ask him to repeat that, because this can help quell a lot of your questions again. This is a site that you're going to be able to go to, that you don't have to continually rely on the Stanley Brothers or Dr. Shackelford or the studies that we're doing our best to come up with. So, Trip, would you repeat that real quick?
Sure,
this is very
again,
important.
The research tab on Medical Marijuana Inc., which is the parent company, and I'm an officer and board member of, will provide ample access to your listeners and to your followers, initially through our research tab and citing the various illnesses, but there'll be a highly searchable database that will be released on or around September 5th, certainly before the launch date, that contains all those medical studies and abstracts to support. Again, we're not making these claims, but there's thousands and thousands of more that we're indexing that will be made available to the world, and I think it will provide some relief to the Stanley Brothers.
I have a question.
We appreciate that. And you know what? None of us, I should say, can make medical claims.
That's
Jen,
right.
don't frown at me. You're going to be able to. No, it's you. Go.
Thanks, honey. Trip, I have a question. So are you interested in like mixing the two? So you'll have your CBD line, then pretty much your THC line. Are you going to have some with different ratios of the two?
Absolutely. And so today we're currently working on our national expansion, which would include licensing the Dixie brand. I'm excited to report that as of today, with the state of Arizona issuing their licenses, that we have established a licensing agreement in Arizona. So in the very distant future, we'll have traditional, yes, that's been a lot of hard work and effort and a lot of starts and stops, but I'm very proud of the governor there and all of these Arizona Department of Public Health. But succinctly, to answer your question, Jennifer, absolutely. Obviously, any products that contain THC will be in medical cannabis states only and for patients that are registered.
Sure.
We will incorporate those hemp wellness or the hemp CBD products and specifically the refined oil to provide a combined effect. Because together they become even more powerful, as we all know. That's certainly been proven.
Yeah, they do. So let's move on to Jen. Great question, actually. And that should answer the many questions that we've had as far as will they be able to ship something that has THC incorporated in this and be able to activate that CBD. So have you done any testing? And this is a big question we've had. Have you done any testing on this product with epilepsy? And I'm not talking about just Dravet syndrome or Goose or anything else. I'm talking about adult epilepsy. I mean,
absolutely. Again, emphasizing that I'm not a physician or I can make medical statements, but we have had access to hundreds of patients with all sorts of ailments and sicknesses, including migraines, epilepsy, muscle spasticity, and the reports are coming back are incredibly positive. If you follow the Facebook postings, the testimonials that we have currently today on the traditional Dixie website, we'll be spinning a new Dixie X, and so we'll have information. But the feedback has been incredibly positive. Obviously, it's individual, case-by-case basis, but we're diligently documenting that, and that will be further supported by the medical studies and abstracts that we'll be posting and making available to your listeners and to the world. So to answer your question succinctly, Josh, I believe the Dixie X is a great solution for people that are dealing with epilepsy, both adults and children alike.
And, since we're not going to have time to get into any more questions on that, I hope that answer really did provide some relief for a lot of you parents out there and a lot of you patients that do suffer from epilepsy, because there's not ever been, to this point, a company that has been able to take this to this level that Trip Keeper has been able to do. And for the effort and what he's done both nationally and internationally has been enormous. And I don't know, Jesse, how many people did we have call in and say, can you have Dixie on? We got to ask the right question. And
Christy's doing a great job of posting information on the.
Christy is. She's doing a great job.
Group.
She's overwhelmed. I had to reintroduce her to her family because our social media platform is getting hammered, and we're blessed for it. And I encourage people to follow us on Facebook. You may like us, join our e-newsletter, because we'll consistently be providing updates as we approach the September 5th deadline. Beyond that, as we go to a domestic third-party distribution channel. So we'll be serving wellness centers throughout those 17 medical cannabis states. And then lastly, our international launch.
And that real quick, that international launch that we're talking about, and I'm talking to my international listeners and people that were calling in last week, and we talked to Scotland, we've talked to New Zealand, we've talked to Sweden, we've talked to Germany so far, and many of them have been asking about when they're going to be able to get this product. And so, guys, I hope this answers your question. I hope you're able to order this, and I hope and you know what, I feel like you will be able to find relief from this. Jess?
For the patients in other states that are, MMJ card holders, as you open it up to them, talk about some of the other products you have. I mean, obviously we're going through these. These are fascinating. I can't wait to try them. But I know you have quite a few different products that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Our science division and our research and development and our formulation teams have done an incredible job. 3 years ago, we started with one product, which was an Dixie Elixir. We had cherry, grape, and orange. We thought it was 20 milligrams. We weren't sure because companies like CanLabs didn't exist. But 3 years later, we have 8 distinct product lines, delivery systems, representing over 55 unique products. And as you can imagine, in addition to the different delivery systems, whether it's a topical or salve or an edible
tonic,
or our Dixie tonics are incredible.
Bath
popular.
salts, folks, the best. Absolutely. I mean,
wonderful.
after you fight bears for a weekend, good night. I go lay in the bath and it's all over.
Yeah.
My wife has to wake me up at 5 in the morning. But it's time
Bath
to
salts
come
are
to bed.
incredibly popular, and that was fascinating to do on television. But the reality is that each and every day our science teams and product development teams are listening to consumer patient input, and there's no stopping those continued product research. So again, approximately 55 products, and in addition to the different products, they come in various dosage levels because some may need 5 milligrams, some may need 50. And so we really believe for those patients in medical cannabis states, as we arrive, we'll provide a multitude of alternative solution, if you will.
And here's an idea too for maybe those that are in medical states, but that Dixie hasn't set up a place to manufacture there, is to buy the Dixie X and then maybe buy a THC product in your area, and you could create some kind of mix as well.
That's right.
Couldn't hurt.
Hey, couldn't hurt. And you know what? I know
a saleswoman.
She is, and you know what you're doing, Trip. You're innovative in the fact that you're able to get this out to the public, and in doing so, I know you know how big this is, but we thank you so much for helping provide the platform on a world level.
Absolutely.
To education and cannabis research and cannabis science, to show people that this is not hippies in your park smoking joints, threatening your kids and trying to introduce them to heroin. What we're doing here and what you're doing here is a major platform. And we've run out of time, but I want to thank you for that. If you'll just go ahead and give those websites again so people can go for questions.
Well, absolutely. And again, when I delivered the stone to the Stanley brothers, for the record, it's guys like you, it's individuals like you that inspire a business person like myself. And but I would encourage your listeners and followers to visit Medical Marijuana Inc.'s website. They too have Facebook and social media platforms and are a good forum in which to share information. Again, you can also come to DixieElixirs.com, which is our manufacturing and MIPS here in the state of Colorado. And for those of you in other medical cannabis states that are interested in exploring opportunities with you, I encourage you to reach out, because our goal is to serve every state that allows some form of medical cannabis. Today we're limited to the 17, but we hope at the end of the election season we'll have many, many more. So MedicalMarijuanaInc.com. We're publicly traded, MJNA. Follow us, or Pink Sheets Company. And then again, DixieElixirs.com. I really appreciate the opportunity to mention both of those sites.
Trip, it's an honor to have you on the show. And what I'd like to ask of you is, after the launch comes out here very shortly in the next few weeks, would you come back on the show again?
It would be a pleasure. I'm happy to also bring additional assets, which would include science division or our marketing, to really make sure we can get into those technical questions, because I want to emphasize it is not me doing it alone. I've got an incredibly valuable team, and it certainly includes Chris Stubbs and Jennifer Murray at CanLab. So thank you. There's your plug.
Appreciate it, Trip.
Probably
Thank
don't
you.
need it.
Well, folks, I want to thank Trip. We're going to be back here in just a few minutes. We have to take a break now. American Weed Realm Radio, Trip Keeber, Dixie Elixirs. Thanks so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it on grass. Runongrass.com.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. but we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
The law offices of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Stanley.
And I'm Jesse Stanley.
Two of the brothers here from National Geographic's American Weed, and we'd like to invite you to come into our dispensaries in Colorado Springs. Come in for the most pure organic strain selection in Colorado. It's all hand grown by the Stanley brothers, especially for our patients. So come in and visit us at our two locations, East Platte and West Colorado. And remember,
always be kind to each other.
Hi, Josh Stanley here from National Geographic's American Weed. I'm here with my brothers, and we've just recently put together a foundation in Colorado to allow for cancer patients and other patients of debilitating conditions to be able to get a hold of cannabis-based oil that's just about free of charge. I've just about had it with seeing sick patients suffer needlessly just because they can't afford the proper medication. That's what the Realm of Caring is going to change. Visit therealmofcaring.com. The website will be complete and up on 4/20 of 2012. But until then, please contact any of us Stanley brothers directly through email. You can get us at gratefuljosh@hotmail.com. Now come on, Colorado. We need to take care of each other. Join the Realm. That's realmofcaring.com. Thank you so much.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Just like Jack the Ripper, just like Mojo Hand, just like
Welcome back to American Weed Realm Radio. Josh Stanley here, your host, and Jesse, your co-host, my brother. And we are here with
a very special guest,
who I promised you was our favorite person on this planet, and now you get to meet her. And this is our mother, Christy Stanley. Welcome, Mom.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Not only did Mom have 6 of us boys who are in the business, Josh, me, Joel, Jesse, Jonathan, Jordan, and Jared, but she also had 5 other equally lunatic children. And there's 11 of them total. Jesse, can you spit them off quick?
Absolutely. Josh, Jenny, Joel, Jesse, John, Jordan, Jared, Joy, J. Austin, Julie, and Jensen.
Very good.
I could do their birthdays, too.
Yeah. Hey, don't challenge me on that. I know the birth dates, but their ages change.
Yeah.
Just like I just turned 29, I'm starting to feel a little old.
29? How did you get younger than I did?
Well, it just happened that way.
You find that time machine? Are you friends with H.G. Wells?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
You should share that with your mother.
Well, I'm 29, but I look like I'm 59. But that's because we've been in medical marijuana for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that for just a little bit. We talked a little bit at the beginning of the show about how it doesn't take much for people to change their minds and change their perspectives on medical marijuana. And as you go back and you talk to people 10 years ago, you see a bevy of a difference in people's minds and people's attitudes. When I first came to you, Mom, for example, and, we were in real estate. We're, buying, selling houses and had a finance company. And in March of 2008, well, it was really at the end of 2007, I said, oh, boy, something's about to happen and we're going to be in some trouble here because I think something's going to come to a grinding halt. March of 2008, it really did. And that's when I had to come to you, and that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Is you said, "Well, what are you going to do now, Josh?" And I said, "Well, I think I'm going to sell medical marijuana. What do you think about that?" And she goes, "Yeah,
Okay."
She goes, "No, you're not. What?"
Even a bigger question than that. Not just, that is the start of it, but that's not your introduction to marijuana. I would like to know, because I don't know your history with it even when you were in college, but obviously some of our younger brothers and Josh himself were dabbling in the marijuana before it was medicinal. I would like to know your introduction to it throughout the years of having us kids, and even how you've seen marijuana change, not only in America but in your own personal viewpoints of it.
Well, I grew up in the hippie generation and didn't happen to actually be one, but
yet you had six boys that are.
Yeah, that's true.
You gave birth to 6 hippies.
But so the viewpoint that I had on it, I guess, was that it was a hippie drug, and not necessarily that it was a horrible thing, but just I was never around it. I was never offered any, ever, which I guess growing up in the era that I grew up in, that was probably pretty unusual. And so obviously I never used any. Then I had my sons who did. And
remember we used to find it behind my dresser?
Yeah.
Fully rolled joints, and I'd come home, she'd be like, you might want to go look in the toilet. Like, damn it!
Yeah, I threw away a lot.
Between Josh and Jordan,
Yeah.
Probably a few pounds.
Yeah.
Jordan definitely accounted for a lot of that.
But I would have to say I was more upset with your dip than I was the joints.
Now, we lived in Oklahoma. There were 2 things. There were several things to do in Oklahoma at that point in time. That was Chew Copenhagen, cow tip. We used to sit on hay bales. We used to crack nuts, and we'd fart. Or living in a flat place like Oklahoma, we could watch our dog run away for 3 days. So you can't really fault me for that. But you did get a little more upset about my chew than my marijuana.
I did, because I felt like that was much more dangerous
What was-
health-wise.
What was your point of? I mean, obviously, I remember being in high school, and I never, was partaking in the marijuana or any drug for that matter. But
Yeah,
I watched
well, folks, that's
some
not
of the
true.
others.
But go on, Jess.
Well, it was true. I did. I don't know if I smoked until I was in college, but mostly because I feared the wrath of God, I guess. But that was back then. But I watched Jordan especially deal with marijuana and your involvement in that. At what point were you like, okay, this is different? I mean,
you mean, when did I look at it as something that
as something
is
that
beneficial?
could be beneficial, yes.
Really not till Josh told me what he was going to do, and I didn't even know that it had medicinal benefits. All those years of being around it and of knowing people who used it, I had no idea it had any medicinal benefits. And when he started talking about the medicinal marijuana, I started researching it, and Josh taught me a lot about it, and then Joel got involved, and I was shocked.
You started to meet a lot of our patients.
I did.
Is what happened.
Yes,
because
I did.
At first, when we opened up the first medical marijuana center, and true medical marijuana center in Denver, we would spend nights there. We had a blow-up mattress, and we'd stay there, and we'd all lay carpet or paint or whatever it was to get this place going.
Right.
And I kept telling you, I said, you just wait, you just watch and see, what we have here as far as topicals and everything else. And so as the patients would begin to not just walk in, but roll in their wheelchairs and say and cry, right there on the spot. This has changed my life. I can't believe you're here. Thank you so much. That's whenever I saw the metamorphosis happen in you.
Yeah, I would agree. I volunteered on doctor days, and that was great.
And folks, those are the days that patients would come in and see the doctors, where we used to be able to have doctors on site, and they could come in and sign up and get their doctor's recommendation, and Mom would come in and help and do their paperwork. So go on, Mom.
And I met a lot of them, and one young man really sticks out in my mind. He'd been hurt, broke his neck snowboarding. And the only thing that the medical community could do for him was give him morphine. And he said I would wake up and I would take my morphine and it would knock me out, and I would sleep until it wore off, and I'd wake up and take the next. And he had learned about the medicinal marijuana and the cannabis, and he was enrolled at DU and writing a book. And it was like, wow. He could be in bed the rest of his life. But because he found the medicinal marijuana, he was able to deal with the pain and still function. And that's just one of hundreds of people that I met. And it totally, I became educated.
It really changes. It really turns it around, doesn't it?
It totally does.
And this is folks, this is years before we had successfully bred this plant that has relatively no THC, so no high. Years before we've met our favorite patients on the planet, little Charlotte, that we call the plant Charlotte's Web, and Paige and the Figgies and the most precious family, and Rebecca and a lot of these other people. And then we stumbled literally onto this because they called us after the National Geographic show and said, is there anything you can do for our kid? And we thought, I'm not sure, maybe so. Explain that. How does that feel? I mean, you live very, very close to the Figgies.
I do. Just live less than a mile away, and love their family. And I'm so excited about this, the plant, Charlotte's Web, that is giving children the opportunity to benefit from the cannabinoids without the high. And I can't tell you how awesome that is, and to talk with Paige and to see the progress that child has made. And she has her life back. And it grieves me when I think of the people that are particularly my age, in my generation, that are in control, and they won't take the time to educate themselves and to talk with Paige and meet a Charlotte.
I gotta go. I mean, going along those lines, how many people have you been able to educate? I mean, because you were teaching at a private Christian school, and you've been involved in. You're pretty involved in the community just because of who we are, and a lot of people that know us and probably ask you a lot of questions. I mean, how many people do you get to educate?
A ton. Because at the beginning, people are always shocked, kind of at what's going on. And
are they shocked, or they're like, yeah, this is right up their alley?
No. I mean, they're just shocked at the idea. I think.
My favorites are the Christians that walk out of church and they go in the back and they're like, hey, you got a J.
Well, and that infuriates me also, because I know that within my generation, my age group, there are a lot of people who still use. But they would
even.
never, yes, recreationally, not for the medicinal purposes, but they would never admit to it, and are probably some of the biggest judgers.
Yeah, the biggest hypocrites I've seen, and I know some of these folks you're talking about. We won't call them out, but they're the ones that are apparently ashamed of their excessive giggling. We're going to have to go hide before we start laughing this hard.
Well, unfortunately, it's they're saving face because they've told their kids for so long that they shouldn't be doing this, and so on and so forth. But let's make this clear. Kids should not be doing this. No. Kids should not be smoking marijuana. That is absolutely not what we are condoning here.
Exactly.
We're not saying that this is a passive herb by any stretch of the imagination. We're talking about medicinal marijuana here. And there are certain aspects into a child's development in their brains that shows that they're still developing, even upwards of the age of 22, 23, 24 years old. So, in the absence of severe situations like Dravet syndrome, epilepsy, cancer,
pain.
Of course, extreme
MS.
pain. Yep. What we found is a way to stop the coating of the cortex through tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, and take advantage of a neuroconnector like a cannabidiol or CBD.
Which is very exciting that Tripp was in here, and those products are incredible.
Wow.
I don't know if they work. I haven't used them, nor do I know anybody that has, but I can tell you and I'm pretty sure they are, knowing Dixie's reputation and the products that they've done before. This is really exciting. For America, for the world. So it's just amazing, and that's what we promote. And I know that that's the kind of the information that you're able to give people, that hey, there are properties to this plant that don't just
exactly
make you want to go to Woodstock, or
exactly.
things like that.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing about it. And we're creatures of habit, and growing up the way I grew up, morphine, OxyContin, Vicodin, those were all normals. And you took them after surgery, or you took them for wisdom teeth, or whatever. And it's like a box philosophy. You're comfortable with that, but those things hurt you. They harm your system. They take away the pain.
They kill you.
Harm you.
They can kill you.
And so to get out of the box and find something that is healthy for you, doesn't get you high. And your body, your body works with it instead of opposing it.
Because of your endocannabinoid system. You have it built in. Every mammal does. And whether or not you're getting high or not, if you're a cancer patient, for example, and you know how many of our cancer patients are enrolled in the realm who are maybe stage 4 cancer. And this is their last shot at it. Morphine doesn't stop the progression of cancer, but cannabinoids have shown to do so. And so if they get high or have the euphoric effect, and it allows them to sleep. It allows them to give them an appetite
relax.
again and relax and enjoy their family again. Then what's wrong with that? What's wrong with the high? What's wrong with even when I say a kid, okay? I hear this all the time from politicians and law enforcement. They say, "Oh, Josh, this is a farce. We sit outside your dispensaries and we can see these able-bodied children walking in." I say it all the time. I say, "Damn, you must be amazing. You must have bionic vision. Can you see AIDS? Can you see MS?" And you know what? Even if it is a kid that goes in and has stubbed his toe or broke his arm on the ski slopes because the amount of the lifestyle we live in Colorado, by us people like me especially, flinging themselves off mountains, and they've broken a bone, I applaud their effort to go in and try something natural as opposed to going and get an opiate.
I do too.
I think, Colorado is obviously paving the way for regulations, and as much as people from California probably don't like to hear that, Colorado is kind of we're kind of, paving the way. We're Lewis and Clark, I guess, out here.
Lewis and Clark.
Who, and I hear a lot of people ask questions about the CBD and really does it help the kids? And the answer to that is you just have to talk to them. I know that they're willing and able to talk to you, and there's all kinds of other people that do it. And for those that do have a Facebook, go to their page and hear some of the testimonies of these people. And they're not all getting it from us. A lot of them are from around the nation that are getting this. They're making this oil themselves because that's the only thing they can do. So because their state or legislation, all that stuff won't allow them to get it anywhere else, they have to do it and act like criminals in their own home.
It's like going back to the 17 or 1800s, where you've got to go back and brew up your witch's brew.
Oh, it's the same witch trials of our time.
It really is. And, I think about that with people in Michigan and MMJ states who have yet to refine their systems. Mom, their parents have to go, and they've got to find their own extraction device for their children. What's the difference that we're seeing here? Like, for example, let's talk about Paige Figgy and let's talk about little Charlotte, okay? We have been able to dial in and work with them on the effective ratio that's been able to stop essentially her seizures. And then you have other parents that are able to experiment with CBD or cannabidiol and the non-psychoactive portion. But they have to make it on their own. They don't have Jen Murray. They don't have Chris Stubbs and Can Labs. And that is so unfortunate. And we think that's unfortunate. Think about the people in New Zealand, the mothers that have called us from New Zealand and from Switzerland and from all over the globe with their kids with Dravet syndrome, crying, saying, "My child is dying. Not only can I not make it for them, but I would go to jail, and then my child would die in protective services." So to me, it is absolutely insane. It's absolutely, it's not just insane, it's criminal here in the United States. Okay, so I want to jump off one more topic because we only have a couple of more minutes, and I want to thank you, Mom, for coming on and hanging out with your crazy boys here. We've always been, our family, and I'm going to get a little sentimental here, our family has always been very, very close.
Yes.
We are more than a family. We're like best friends, and that goes from us to you to the brothers to the sisters. We grew up. We didn't have much money. Well, no. We didn't have any money.
I was about to say, much is a strong adjective.
25-cent taco nights. It was like, all right, go look in the couch for loose change. Right?
Exactly.
So, I want to thank you personally here on the show live for raising us essentially without the help of a father who left us, and I want to thank you for every time that our power would go out, that we thought it was a celebration because she'd bring in the candles and it was time to roast marshmallows. So we thought we were camping. We didn't think it was that because we couldn't pay our power bill. So, and I know Jesse wants to think the same thing, and we want to thank you for being not just our mother but our best friend, being our inspiration, being somebody who has always given us lemonades when life gave us lemons. And we love you.
Thank you
guys too.
And we really are blessed. I mean, we, you know, if those that don't know, our dad did leave, but we had obviously our mom who could write a book on all the stories and the amazing things that have happened and the different struggles that we've gone through. But she also, our grandmother, who's no longer with us, Mom's mom, Grammy, as she's referred to by many people, we were really blessed. So where we lacked, we were given every opportunity because of Mom and Grammy, and we're just so blessed to have that and so thankful that you will be carrying on that tradition as Nina to the kids here. And you had a great teacher, obviously.
The best.
And so did we. And so people ask me, they thank me all the time when I drop off oil or, you know, making it or whatever. And they say, you know, you guys are so great. And I'm like, you know, that comes from Grammy and my mom. It's just an extension of their love. And I can honestly say that because we're all assholes.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Well, no. I mean,
I am so proud of you guys.
We're all nuttier than squirrel turds. But
that's all right.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
Not a thing. I love you guys, and I'm so proud of what you're doing and what you're giving, and I'm with you all the way.
Well, thanks, Mom. And thanks for coming on tonight. I hope we can have you on again as well.
It was fun. Thanks.
Yeah, it is fun. And for all you folks out there listening, this is the greatest woman on the planet.
And she'll be happy to answer any questions that you do have for, you know, you parents out there. Your kids are smoking or she's dealt with it. So you send us questions. We'll ask her for you, and she'll be happy to tell you how she dealt with things. And I know that I can speak for her for that. So.
She's been out there and done it. And, folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to another great show of American Weed Realm Radio. Up next is Sex Pot Radio. Next week, we have a great show for you. I'm not going to spoil the surprises of who we have in next week. And then later in the month, we have all of the brothers in the station for Jared's birthday. And we're going to regale stories of our campfires whenever our lights went out and things like this. But
I should probably be here for that one.
In fact, I hope you will be here for that one. And folks, I want to tell you where I got, you know, my idea, who my lighthouse was my mom. And so that's why in this show every week with this, it takes only one lighthouse to bring in 1,000 ships. Be that lighthouse, guys. Educate, love, and accept. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.